Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to NEWSROOM. I'm your host Khalid. But today is the 9th of February 2023 and these are the stories that we will be discussing in detail during the course of the show. We'll begin with the latest updates as far as the earthquake that has struck Türkiye and Syria is concerned. The latest casualties, the number has exceeded 17,000. This was also confirmed by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Türkiye, who talked about his number of casualties as far as Türkiye is concerned has risen to 14,014, while in Syria the number of casualties that we know of so far has exceeded 3,160, and so the number exceeds 17,000. On top of that, thousands of buildings that have collapsed as a result of that, and the people's misery that has been exacerbated by the cold and this earthquake are the things that we'll be discussing in detail as far as the people in Turkey and Syria are concerned, and also the help of friendly countries such as Pakistan to these two countries will also be part of the first segment. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the relationship between Ethiopia and Pakistan, two countries that have maintained relations since quite some time, but the embassy has officially opened since more than almost a year, and we will be talking exclusively to the ambassador of Ethiopia in our second segment as far as the bilateral relationship, specifically in the domain of economy is concerned, how both the countries want to work together in order to further improve on that. Then finally we'll be talking about Palestine, ladies and gentlemen, and Israeli forces that have carried out a huge scale raid of the Aqabat Jabir refugee camp that lasted for 6 hours. Nothing new, but the fact remains that since the ultranationalist government in Israel took power, we are seeing more and more incursions, more and more violence on the people in Palestine. People are motivated to counter all of this, but they're also demotivated because of the reaction that the world is giving as far as Palestine is concerned. This is our third story. Let's come and begin with our first segment, and that concerns the earthquake that has struck Türkiye as well as Syria. This happened some days back, and since then the number of casualties have been increasing by every passing day because a lot of people were under the rubble. Some survived, some didn't. We've heard of so many heartwarming stories of children that were taken out of the rubble in Turkey and in Syria after 40-50 hours of struggle, and we've also heard of the devastating stories of people who've lost their entire families as a result of this earthquake. This said, there are also a lot of efforts that are being made by the world, including our own country Pakistan, that has sent consignments to Turkey, and its consignment to Syria has also arrived. Also teams have been sent to Turkey in order to help those who are in need. Different other countries have also pledged their help, but there's a little difference as far as Turkey and Syria are concerned. In Turkey, more and more countries are pledging their help, but as far as Syria is concerned, because of the situation, the political situation there, there is a little bit of hesitancy as far as the aid reaching Syria is concerned. Although the Syria has asked the European Union to help, and Syria has also asked other countries to help, and there are mechanisms from countries that did not have a normal working relationship with Syria to send their aid into Syria, and this is going on, but there has been a little bit of delay comparing Syria to Turkey. And also the fact remains that the road between Turkey and Syria for the aid to arrive had also issues due to which the aid could not arrive in time. This said, the aid is arriving and people are helping, but is this enough? The fact remains that a lot needs to be done, a lot needs to be highlighted on the international front. More and more aid needs to arrive to Turkey as well as Syria, but we understand the geostrategic and geopolitical situation of the region as well, which also causes a little bit of delay as far as, and also the amount of aid that needs to be given also it has issues because of the geostrategic and geopolitical situation across the world. We've been joined by Saqib, former ambassador, and of course foreign affairs expert. Saqib sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Sir, if you look at the latest casualties, more than 17,000 in Turkey alone, more than 14,000, Syria 3,160. Recep Tayyip Erdogan talks about 6,400 buildings destroyed as well. This effect is humongous. We remember the last big earthquake in Turkey that caused 17,000 casualties. Do you feel that this earthquake is going to surpass those casualties in the long run?
Thank you, Omar. The thing is to see is that how Turkey has taken this challenge. But let me begin with the friendly gesture that Pakistan has shown to its very dear friend Turkey, and now Syria also, as you have mentioned in your intro. You know, it is not the amount of blankets or medicines or the rescue team workers, the number of rescue team. It is the thought that counts. And I think in such times of distress and pain, it is actually the thought that counts, and the people of Turkey are actually they are very grateful for these gestures coming from friendly countries, and on top of those is Pakistan. The challenge that President Tayyip Erdogan has faced since Monday, since this, we have seen that they are very much capable of handling this challenge of earthquake. The rescue team, the indigenous resources are being, motivated and put into action. Secondly, we have seen that the economic effects of such a disaster. We have heard that lira versus dollar, the clash has been in favor of Turkey, and about 30% of dollar's actual price has been decreased. Now, this is one of the qualities of great leaders. Whenever they are faced any challenge, they not only address the challenge, they seek some opportunities in it also. You are absolutely right. There are more than 17,000 total, casualties that we have seen, both in Syria and Turkey, and majority of these, unfortunately, these deaths have occurred in Turkey, and still the rescue teams are going on. It is good to see Pakistani army people going there and utilizing their expertise.
The Pakistan Air Force also has sent C-130s with relief goods to them. The consignment plane has also reached Syria, as you yourself said in the beginning. Also, the first UN aid convoy has reached the rebel-held northwest Syria from Turkey. 6 trucks under the United Nations have reached Bab al-Hawa, which is the only border crossing authorized by the United Nations Security Council for aid delivery. How important is also the work and the assistance by the United Nations in this time of crisis for both the countries?
United Nations normally, come into, although, their contingent has arrived, I just read a report that they have also arrived in Turkey and perhaps in Syria also.
Yes, in Syria they have.
They decide, such a venture where, when there is something which is politically viable. And apparently, United Nations has considered it appropriate to send their contingents to both these countries, because it is not, a bilateral thing. It concerns humanity at large. So I'm very happy to note that United Nations has finally. Otherwise, they should have been there. It happened on Monday. They should have been there on Tuesday. And there are a few days that have passed. Naturally, you have to form the teams and the countries. Those who will be contributing towards this. So it's a good gestures from United Nations also. But I must tell you and your millions of viewers that Turkey is a very strong country. Turkey, as far as resources are concerned, being a member of NATO also, it has got all those equipments and resources that can properly, adequately, appropriately address such a natural disaster vis major. The problem is still, going on. We are still watching those clips that our army people, our Air Force people, our rescue teams are also helping in that. So my prayer is, as every Pakistani would be praying, that there are less, number of casualties. The economic thing, the raising down of buildings and the infrastructure destruction, etc. we cannot calculate right now. It is an ongoing process. But I
you talk of calculation, Najam Saqib Saab, there is a calculation more or less that has also been made by the World Health Organization that says around 23 million people are going to be affected by this earthquake, both in Syria and in Türkiye. This is a very big amount, the number that is. For Türkiye, I understand it's a strong country, it will withstand it. For Syria, that has already undergone years of civil war, and then we don't even know the exact number of casualties because the information is more rampant coming from Türkiye but not as much coming from Syria. Do you feel Syria will be able to withstand this? Don't you feel Syria also needs a lot of support and assistance by all the countries possible, even those who do not have normal relations with it?
This is the real concern, Omar. Turkey is a powerful country. It has got all the infrastructure and equipment to deal with such a disaster. But unfortunately, Syria, and particularly, let's say, if you see the last, let's say, 20 years of struggle, there are so many stakeholders, there are so many actors, international and national, indigenous, Arab, United States of America, Russian Federation, and all those Muslim countries who are interested in the geopolitical situation of the area, particularly focused on Syria. So I don't think that Syria on its own can handle this kind of disaster, and they need more, support as compared to Turkey. But as a friendly gesture, our, one PIA plane has already arrived there. We have to talk about ourselves. And I think we are, consider the situation in Pakistan. We are still, facing the aftermath of this devastating floods. Our economy, we are in a bad crunch. Our political uncertainty, the government, the problem, various problems that we are facing, particularly on the economic front. So I'll say it again, that it is the thought that counts, and Pakistan is
and it is
counted.
the thought that is most important. I agree with you, sir.
That is the most important thing. It is not the quantity of, the flood, the earthquake relief, medicines or blankets or food or shelter or whatever. It is the thought. And I think Pakistan has taken a lead in this, and it is for the other Muslim countries particularly to come forward, Muslim countries who are rich and who can actually help, particularly Syria, because as I said, that the political uncertainty, ongoing political uncertainty, and the efforts of grabbing the resources of Syria, particularly oil. So under this very confusing and uncertain circumstances, this kind of a disaster is a little too much. So I think
I totally agree with you, and I'd like to quote what the Syrian Civil Defense Group says. It's calling for supplies for search and rescue equipment. It says that the air in Syria is permeated with the smell of death. The White Helmets, that are also an organization working in Syria, say that death hangs over the neighborhoods of Salkin, which is in the city of Idlib. The smell of death is everywhere. There is a very desperate situation in areas such as Syria and countries such as Syria, and also the fact remains that a lot of people have lost hope of finding more survivors because of the rubble that is present, and also because of the cold freezing temperatures that are currently engulfing those areas. How important is also, to help those who have survived, so that they don't get disease or they don't get any other issues because of this cold or freezing temperature, and also they get the water and food in time and at the in the right quantity.
Omar, when such a devastating thing occurs and strikes any country, even I still remember when America, Katrina, there are still people who are saying that in those areas the water is still there, and those, where the black Americans are there. It is an ongoing process. As I tell you, as I told you, that the aftermath, the after effects of this earthquake in Syria and in Turkey, it will take at least a few years before you actually understand the level, the magnitude of the devastation. But in the meantime, as we all know, that you need to manage the crisis first. You have to save human beings first, and then the conflict, resolution, that how many buildings have been razed in Syria, how much infrastructure has been, destroyed in Turkey and Syria, and how best the indigenously, the powers indigenously or outside help, we can sort of bring these countries to that level where they actually started off. One important thing here is very, pertinent to mention, Omar, and if you allow me,
please.
there are certain conspiracy theories which prop up somehow, not in Pakistan, but all over the world. And, people start, trying putting words, trying to hash some conspiracy theories. For instance, why this earthquake, struck Syria and Turkey and not Israel? Is it a man-made, earthquake or not? And secondly, indigenously, we have seen that the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister was about to go for Turkey and suddenly he changed his program, and so many conspiracy theories. I think we should avoid such conspiracy theories. There is no need to, hatch it or forward it or,
I agree with you, but unfortunately, our people have been attuned so much to conspiracy theories since the past few years that they have kind of always look forward to more conspiracy theories. But one should always adhere to facts and figures, and this is what we do on our channel on PTV and on PTV World. Let's come to Pakistan. We've had the Foreign Office spokesperson who said at least 23 Pakistanis have been evacuated from the Gaziantep University in Turkey and have been accommodated in Adana, and also the multiple rescue teams that have gone there, the dispatched as well as the goods that have arrived there. And I'd also like to understand about the committee, the 3-member committee that our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has constituted for relief operations for Turkey and Syria, that will be of course headed by the Minister for Planning and Development, Ehsan Iqbal. This and the air corridor that has also been established for the goods to reach Syria and Turkey. How important is Pakistan as a player as far as helping Turkey and Syria are concerned?
This is a very important angle to any disaster such as this earthquake. I must tell you that let's say all the embassies who are based in Ankara, including Pakistan's embassy as well, they have to look after their own people who are living or who are visiting Turkey. And in this case, what happens is that all these embassies who have got the data about all those nationals, they try to rescue them and put them at ease or try to repatriate them. And formation of this particular committee, of course, it is important. Not only this, but in the Foreign Office, normally what happens is that we establish a crisis management cell. That crisis management cell, one of the main purposes is that if there are, let's say there are people in Pakistan, the parents, the friends, the brothers and sisters who have their brothers and sisters or parents in Turkey, and they are, apprehensive of any wrong incident or untoward incident. So Foreign Office plays this role of, being a conduit between the people of Pakistan who are in Pakistan with their relatives in Turkey. And this happens everywhere in the world. So all embassies are active right now, including Pakistan embassy based in, Ankara. And, I know that he has, our ambassador in Ankara has already given the presentation, not only telling about the devastation that Turkey is going through, but also the number of Pakistanis who are there and who are affected. I also have, a couple of friends permanently living in Turkey who have told me that the embassy is doing a good work and they are happy with the performance of the embassy in this crisis. And I must tell you that all those people who are in any embassy, including the embassy of Pakistan, they do not sleep during such,
I know that. I've seen that in the past when Pakistan was struck by calamities, and how our Foreign Office worked 24/7 as well as other ministries in order to help those in need. So, as you said, the thought counts, the essence, the soul of helping others is there in Pakistan, and that is what is very, very important. I'd also like to add our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was asked that fundraising should be done in schools and colleges to help those in Syria as well as in Turkey, and our Minister for Finance, Saqib, has also appealed to the business community for generous donations and contributions for relief funds for both these countries. How important are these two elements as well? The people-to-people contact and, helping our brethren who are in need at this moment.
That is right. And to give you a brief answer to that, I must refer to that Khilafat movement. Turkey and Azerbaijan. I have traveled all over the world. Turkey, particularly, is one country where if you say that I am from Pakistan, they put their right hand on their heart and say brother or sister. This is Turkey, and similarly in Azerbaijan also. Why? Because in let's say from 1919 to 1924, there was a Khilafat movement. The Great Britain was against the Khilafat movement, and the Muslims of India, particularly Muhammad Ali Jauhar, Shaukat Ali, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, and such leaders, they actually participated in, so much so that Gandhi had to also come into it in favor of, not in favor of Turkey, but against the English people. Now, that background is still there in today's Turkey. They know that the Muslims of India, which form parts of Pakistan, they help them in the hour of need. And from that Khilafat movement till today, and today's gestures, I must tell you that this will go a long way in forging, the strong bilateral relations between the two countries. And I am very happy that Pakistan, under such odd and very, strange and very difficult circumstances that Pakistan is going through, Pakistan was mindful of this, and the steps that you have, mentioned, that after Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif issued order, one of the important thing is that all those funds which have been created, it is very important to know the credentials of that fund which has been created, because there are some miscreants, Umar. What they do is they establish a fund and then they keep that money, with them. So it is very important for all of us who are contributing toward that fund. We have to,
and that is in the National Bank of Pakistan, and all you need to do is go to different websites or to the government's website. You'll know the exact account number, and you should only put your money inside that account and not in other so-called, because you're right, so many people take advantage of situations such as these, even situations such as these, which is, I mean, what can I say of those people? They stoop so low. This said, the account, the help, the aid, we also remember how Türkiye helped Pakistan last year when floods affected Pakistan. Also in the 2010 earthquake, they were the 2010 floods, they were there as well. The fact remains that Turkey has always been a very generous friend, as you yourself have said, and Syria is also a very important brotherly country, and that is why Pakistan, despite its limited resources, as our Premier also said, will always be there for these countries. Do you feel other important Muslim countries should also follow suit and show to the world that the Muslim world is one block when it comes to helping our brethren?
What I am expecting, Omar, is an emergency meeting by the OIC, because Turkey and Pakistan, that 56 members, Muslim countries, they must have a session and decide collectively how best we can help Syria and Turkey. Both are members of OIC. One thing I'm expecting, and then OIC's presence in the United Nations. Independently of the United Nations, they can meet there also at the sidelines of any meeting. The working group has to be activated, which particularly focuses its attention to any such disaster in any of the Muslim countries. So this is one thing that I'm expecting. Second thing, what I'm expecting is that individual Muslim countries, they have to come forward like Pakistan has, and they have to actually see that how best they can help their brethren in Syria and Turkey. Thirdly, since it is a humanitarian crisis, I think all countries of the world, no matter if Haiti is not able to, let's say, send, or Cuba is not able to send a relief team to Turkey and Syria, at least they can write a letter. At least they can, convey a message of goodwill and friendship to the affected people of Turkey, the governments of Turkey and Syria. So, dame darme sukhane, you can do anything, whatever you can do, because you never know that tomorrow it will be your turn, and people will be looking at you. What did you do when the other countries were in distress. So, it is a two-way traffic, and I would urge all the countries of the world to have a look at this, situation, leave aside the political and diplomatic and economic differences. Look at this human disaster and see how best we can help Turkey and Syria.
That is so true, Saqib sir, and I hope that the world understands and reacts swiftly, because swift reaction is the need of the hour, whether it comes to Turkey or whether it comes to Syria in particular, that has already been ravished by a civil war. We just hope that the world comes as one. That is very important. Human tragedies are the most important and need to be dealt with effectively. And it is this reaction that will be remembered by our Turk brothers and our Syrian brothers in times to come, because as you have said, it has happened to them. Tomorrow it could happen to any other country, in any other situation. Earthquakes, floods, climate change effects are something that we are going to see everywhere around the world. So let's hope that the world unites. But it has already done so, but we hope for more such reactions and strong reactions coming from the world to help those in need. Thank you very much, Ambassador Saqib Saab, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the latest as far as this earthquake that struck Türkiye and Syria is concerned. Just a reminder, more than 17,000 people have lost their lives in both the countries, more than 14,000 in Türkiye alone and 3,160 plus in Syria. And of course, the number of buildings, the number of injured are in the thousands and the tens of thousands. Let's hope and our prayers go to our brethren in Türkiye as well as in Syria. Let's come to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns Pakistan and its strong influence and brotherly relations with countries across the world. We have relations from, and we try to forge strong relations with every country possible, even the most remotest countries across the world. This is what Pakistan needs to do in order to strengthen itself in different spheres, especially economy. Now, we have the privilege to have with us in the studios an ambassador who has joined the ranks of ambassadors in Pakistan and has opened an embassy in Pakistan since more or less a year. He is the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Jemal Babar. Thank you very much, Mr. Jemal Babar, to have joined us and to have come all the way to the studios to talk to us about Pakistan-Ethiopia relations.
Thank you, Omar, for having me. Always a pleasure to be in PTV World.
Mr. Jemal Baker, Abdula, first of all, the embassy in Pakistan has opened since more or less a year, a couple of months, let's put it that way. But the relations between Pakistan and Ethiopia have been strong since decades. How is the opening of this embassy going to further improve on those relations?
Thank you, Omar. I like to thank you for having me here. It is Ethiopia and Pakistan shares a big, values across. There are issues, especially for our country. We look recent reform that started in Ethiopia, 2018. Since then, our embassy, as you said, it is like we opened actually close to a year, but functionally it is 5 months, year of age actually. So Ethiopia and Pakistan has established diplomatic relations since 1958. Especially Pakistan has opened its mission in Ethiopia in 1973 during His Excellency the President of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. So since then we have a strong relation, and one of the basic tenets for our relationship is collective security. Pakistan and Ethiopia is one of the biggest countries of contributing for peacekeeping. This means the values we are paying precious life. Nothing is worthy than life. We pay for the international peace and global security. We have fallen in DRC, South Sudan, Liberia, all of that. That shows where we are aligned. The second issue is, especially, as you know, currently, recently we are just mentioning earthquake plus again climate change. When I came to this country, big nation, what has happened was two things has affecting basically this country. One, basically that it shares with the rest of the world, inflation due to the price and everything. So that is global issue.
Of course.
The second is climate change, which is particular to this country, and so we expressed our deep support to Pakistan. Pakistan should not be left alone for the reason it is not cause. if it is minimal. And then we, our Prime Minister and most of our governments, especially during COP27 and recently also COP28, we are promoting sustainable development. So climate change mitigation is where we are aligned, and we're promoting justice for those country who do this. So especially since our embassy was here, very close and opened their heart, mind, support we get from the Pakistan government and the people. I like to thank them for their kind support.
That is so, thank you so much for that kind gesture. But the fact remains that the people in both Ethiopia and Pakistan are very warm, very friendly. People-to-people contact, Excellency, is one of the basic tools that helps forge stronger relations between countries. How important do you give to this people-to-people contact?
Omar, the most important thing, finally, at the end of the day, all the linkage that we create is to facilitate people-to-people relations. It is the only way that diplomatic relationships, cooperation between countries will touch the ground when people-to-people relation is enhanced. So previously I came to know, when I come to this country, two things are missing. One, linkage, institutional linkage is missing. So that one, whenever people are connected, if they eat together, they plan together, they do something together, so they think they own anything that happen in this country, have also a security or livelihood impact. So they protect, and that is the only sustainable way. So we are creating collaboration and connection between people.
That is so important, institutional linkages. This is the basis for creating economic links between countries.
Sure. One thing we are doing next week on Thursday, Ministry of Commerce and the Ethiopian Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration, they are going to sign institutional collaboration between trade agreement between the two countries.
Right.
So during our embassy opening, also yet we didn't open officially, and soon our higher officials will come and bless this embassy. During that time, they are also going to meet with higher official. Plus, there is 4-6 MOU is on the line. One of those is technological cooperation between Pakistan and Ethiopia. The second is aviation technology that we're gonna share, and the other is also on the trade is already done. Others, climate change is on the pipeline. Political consultation at high level, visa waiver. So we want to make easy movement for people, for officials, so that our relation will be enhanced.
Visa waiver, you talked of visa waivers. It's very important for the business community, if you want to create stronger linkages in the business field, to have a visa facilitation for both the countries, for the Ethiopian business community that wants to come to Pakistan, and vice versa for the Pakistani business community that wants to go to Ethiopia. Do you feel the visa will be a visa at arrival, or will it be a visa free? How is it going to move forward as far as Pakistan and Ethiopia is concerned?
Look, this issue has been, movement for people should be easy, and actually, especially after the reform our country, one of the issue we're focusing on visa on arrival. One thing, especially as a diplomatic country, third diplomatic country in the world. So we have been, now after at the end of this month, there is African head of state will gather in Ethiopia to discuss the future cooperations and the strengthening with the rest of Africa, and it is the world. So visa is one issue, especially the Prime Minister. Prime Minister say, as a diplomatic center, we need to waive the visa and make easy for people to come in and for tourists also. So we have designed, and now it is online. Everyone of Pakistani or anyone, especially when they want to go to Ethiopia, they fill the form very easy. Now we ease the movement, so it is online, and they will just fill some forms and attach. They will get visas quickly, so there is no problem. Last time when I was in Ethiopia, I invited like 5 business community to visit. They do online, then they finalize and they visit. It is very easy.
I hope that is going to increase with time under you being, of course, the ambassador to Ethiopia and Pakistan is concerned. As far as the agreements in different spheres are concerned, whatever I've read as far as your comments are concerned, you've talked about when this high-level delegation is going to arrive in Pakistan to inaugurate the embassy, there are going to be agreements in the field of science and technology, aviation, trade, that are going to be signed. At the same time, you've also indicated your country's interest in science and technology, academia, the construction industry, pharmaceutical industry, and the garments industry as well. Do you feel it is going to take a long time for both the countries to sign agreements and MOUs in these fields?
Actually, Omar, one of the most important thing, it is a key priority for our government to strengthen relationship with Pakistan. As you know, we are in the evolving of international dynamisms. So every country now, it is very imperative, especially for Ethiopia and Pakistan, as it's a heir of the civilizations, a big nations that have got its own history. So for our government, this agreement will enhance, so it should be done as quickly as possible. I'm organizing now the delegation that is planning to visit Ethiopia soon. After that delegation, so our higher delegation is planning to come, so visit and finalize this agreement and put in place. Until then, everything is going accordingly, Omar.
You talked about the Pakistan delegation that is going to visit Ethiopia. That is going to happen between the 5th and the 10th of March this year, if I am not wrong. This is going to not only connect both the countries in the field of business further, but also, introduce Pakistan to the 1.4 billion market of Ethiopia. Ethiopia has such a lot of potential as far as creating linkages and business relations is concerned. What in particular do you feel would be of interest to the Pakistani community?
Look, the most important thing is this. Omar, to be frank, previously Africa is considered to be like a gloomy, underdeveloped civil war. But now, especially in the last, there is a complete transformation in the governance and the security and the stability, and they are playing a very great role in the international arena.
Ethiopia is also a gateway to Africa.
That is true, Omar. So Ethiopia now, as I said to you now, head of African state, 54 countries will gather in Africa, in Addis Ababa. It is a gateway to Africa. It is a headquarter for African politics as well. So it is a center for economic commission for Africa. It means a lot for Africa because Ethiopia is a Pan-African country. We are those who established and worked with all our like-minded brothers in Africa to establish Pan-Africanism, African Union. So before that, it is called Organization of African Union. Its headquarters is based in Ethiopia. Due to its legacy, Ethiopia has played. Omar, for your information, Ethiopia has never colonized. And we have been pursuing independence since those time to fight for justice, increase those things. So basically, the interest for trade delegation for Pakistan, number one. Now, Africa is a hopeful continent. It is, as you said, 1.4 billion population. By 2050, Omar, Africa, 1/4, a quarter of world population is based in Africa. They have also a huge workforce. They will determine the future of geopolitics, believe me or not. So it is going to be very good to align with Ethiopia, to a gateway to Africa, connect with our brothers of Africans. That will enhance. So the other thing we are working now is prioritizing which companies who go there will develop a database so that we will prepare the B2B business in every areas. Be it number one, pharmaceutical, which is huge now. Pakistan is obviously known by pharmaceutical, and it is medical, surgical equipment, textile.
And of course, there was a huge, conglomerate of pharmaceutical companies that recently met you as well, and they talked about interest that the pharmaceutical industry had in investing in Ethiopia.
Look, one thing what makes Ethiopia competitive at this time, the most important, Ethiopia produces the cheapest energy on the earth. 96.4% of Ethiopia energy comes from clean energy, which is hydro, wind, solar. So we are producing very cheap and clean, sustainable. Our Prime Minister is a champion for, he was received award recently in US by doing Green Legacy Initiative. So this is changing the political landscape. Cheap energy means, again, the manufacturing hub. We are working to become a manufacturing hub of Africa. Energy is there. Plus, again, we have, our university, public university is 46 public university, including private 200 and something plus university. So huge labor, skilled labor.
And cooperation also in the academia.
One of the delegation, member of delegation are universities.
All right.
Those universities, they will link with them. So there are completely, as you said, people to people university that will determine the future cooperation of a
Wonderful,
nation.
wonderful. Also, I know about this 2-day Pak Ethiopia pre-delegation forum that is going to kick off in Sialkot from the 15th of February to boost the participation of the business community from the industrial cities of Punjab. What are your aims as far as this forum that is going to begin in Sialkot is concerned? What do you plan to introduce during this forum?
Look, one thing is very important. Now Pakistan needs exports actually. Ethiopia, as one of the second largest, populous country in Africa, around 130 million population. In the last 2 decades, double-digit economy. So that means there is a lot demand, middle-income country, close to that. So a huge market for agricultural product, especially tractors and many agricultural technologies that will be exported to Ethiopia. Second, also, manufacturing, pharmaceutical, as we mentioned, and surgical areas. So we try to brief them what kind of opportunity, trade, investment, and others available in Ethiopia. It's also delegation coming from Ethiopia, deputy investment commissions, and the others led by them. They will be present in that forum. So we'll create a kind of linkage between them so that what is available, how Ethiopia's market look like, and where we start to look for connecting those things, connecting the dot. So that is laying a foundation for delegation that is going to visit Ethiopia, which is history, by the way, Omar. Being as Ethiopia, the first hijrah is done toward Ethiopia,
Yes,
the
yes.
first hijrah. So it's like this delegation is a maiden delegation.
Okay.
Be part of this. No, don't go into miss. There is no limitation in that.
Okay, that is wonderful. Another thing that interests us is tea. We love tea, and I've heard so much about the Ethiopian tea as well as coffee. In fact, coffee has originated from Ethiopia, and the word coffee comes from one of the areas in Ethiopia, and that is how coffee, the whole concept of coffee began. Any interest in bringing the Ethiopian tea and coffee to Pakistan?
Omar, maybe tomorrow if you come to my embassy, one thing, the first thing as a culture we offer is coffee.
Okay.
You will have a special coffee for Ethiopia, number one. Ethiopian coffee, what makes different is, it is aroma, plus again, one of the best coffees in the world. This is what the coffee test has approved. And so we are a land of origin, we call, due to one, as you know, we are for human cradles. Going back to Ethiopia is connecting to your ancestral land, Omar. So everybody, this is what research approved. Second is a land of coffee, as you said. The name of coffee itself comes from the place called in Ethiopia, Kaffa. Kaffa is a very green areas, so the history goes back, but it is a land of coffee. The third is a land of Nile origin.
Of course.
Ethiopia, 85 up to 90% of Nile.
The longest river in the world.
Comes from Ethiopia. We believed that. We give to all to the world. So we are going to facilitate all those things. It will help to bridge the people actually.
Another thing that bridges is transport. When is Ethiopian Airlines beginning its functionalities towards Pakistan?
This is, as you said, the beginning. When I was thinking, when I came to this country, I found the missing point, as we said, is linkage. So the first thing I start to work is how to link Pakistan with the rest of Africa. So Ethiopian Airlines, as you know, the biggest airlines of Africa, who has got consecutively win the best award of Africa in the globe. It has got 130 destination and planning soon. When I come, what I make sure before I depart Ethiopia, the pilot is ready, the crew is ready,
all right.
The flight is ready. The date is also determined.
Wonderful.
It is 26th of March.
Oh, so you're giving us the date as well.
The date.
Okay.
Ethiopian Airlines is determined to fly to connect Pakistan with the rest of Africa and enter into Ethiopia's market.
That is wonderful. Another thing that Pakistan is very interested is more and more countries join the China-Pakistan economic corridor. What is the Ethiopian interest as far as being part of this wonderful and one of the biggest economic platforms is concerned?
Look, this BRI, especially for our country, it is as a landlocked country. For us, we are connected through this one of BRI funded project, which is a railway that connects Djibouti with Addis Ababa. So it is BRI. So for us, it is a lifeline. connecting through this one. And also now the globe is becoming so small.
Of course.
It needs alternative routes, alternative interaction. So this, we are connected through Pakistan, through BRI. We are very grateful for this Chinese government for this very far-sighted, connectivity infrastructure, especially for those countries who have no market linkage, connecting easy. So the what makes the goods very expensive is transportation. If you don't have infrastructure, look, the linkage between now Africa and Addis Ababa or Ethiopia and the rest of Africa, lack of infrastructure. So this is the future lies in this, connecting the countries through giving access to the rest of the world. It will connect also, it will provide at the end of the day a customer alternative which lessen the transportation, connect the people, bring the world together. So this is just, we believe that way.
Another thing that's important for Pakistan is its tourism industry. This is something that Pakistan is delving into, but we have beautiful mountains. You've seen that. In the couple of months that you're here, I'm sure you must have been once at least to our beautiful mountains. We've got desert, we've got lands, we've got everything culturally speaking, architecturally speaking. We've got Taxila, we've got Mohenjo-Daro, we've got the interiors of Punjab and Sindh, we've got the palaces, and so many things that Pakistan can boast of. How important is the tourism industry in Ethiopia? Because I understand there are so many UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and I was going through the whole list, whether it be Aksum, Fasil Ghebi, Gonda region, Harar, Jugol, the fortified historic town, Konso, cultural landscape, and so on and so forth. There's a whole list that is UNESCO approved and World Heritage Site. Can Ethiopia cooperate with Pakistan in order to make its tourism industry stronger?
Omar, this is where we are heading is now, especially our reform. We identified 5 critical sectors. One of those is top is tourism. As you said, tourism nowadays, due to Ethiopia's historical, natural, and traditional, we are excuse me. So we are UNESCO recorded #1 in Africa. We have got 13. We have got tangible and intangible also. We have a GADA system which contributes governance, especially during recent also we have them cut throughout Ethiopia's, that shows it is civilizations. So tourism is untapped. We as a land of Bilal Habashi and King Najashi, everyone is a duty, as they make hijrah to the world. It is important, so we need to work with major tour operators. Pakistan has, as you said, a lot to offer to the globe, a lot which tests, especially Ethiopia. We are very mountainous, similar to your country.
Yes.
So there is a test of similarities.
Of course.
For that.
And maybe you can, guide Pakistan on how to make its tourism industry strong. And I really hope that your presence here in Pakistan, Excellency Jemal, Beker, Abdula, will only fortify the relations between Ethiopia and Pakistan, but also create a new chapter as far as our brotherly relations are concerned. Thank you so very much, Excellency Jemal Beker Abdullah, to have joined us live in Newsroom to talk about the linkages that exist between our two countries and how you are here in Pakistan to further work on that, to further strengthen that. We hope to see and hear much more from your end in the days and the months to come. Thank you very much, Excellency, to have joined us.
Thank you much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our last story, and that concerns Palestine. Now, Palestinian residents of the Aqaba Jaffa refugee camp accuse Israeli soldiers of using excessive force and destroying property during barbaric incursions. This happened on Monday. A lot of people have been affected by it, and this is just a spate of continuous barbarities that the Israelis are continuing on the Palestinians. The Monday's attack came at the end of a 10-day long suffocating Israeli army blockade on the Jericho city. When it comes to such violations and such incursions and such barbarism, this has been continuing quite since some time and has increased specifically since the new ultra-nationalist government came into power. Our thoughts, our prayers are with our Palestinian brethren, and we hope a just solution comes to this issue before it is way too late for this region to reconcile itself. With that, we come to an end of today's Newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new stories and segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.